So, a while back in my friend's campaign, we got our hands on a scroll containing the 5th level spell creation. At the time though, we couldn't really think of a good use for it, and it was 2 spell levels above what we were reliably capable of, so we just decided to sell it in a shady back alley deal. But once again, immediately after the session, I started brainstorming uses for the spell and came up with a few ideas. Some might overlook it in favor of a more flashy spell, not realizing it actually has a lot of destructive potential. Like last time, we'll start by reading the spell description. And I'm actually never happy with my reading, so here you go, Toby, you read it again, we're making this a thing.
You pull wisps of shadow material from the Shadowfell to create a non-living object of vegetable matter within range. Soft goods, rope, wood, or something similar. You can also use this spell to create mineral objects such as stone, crystal, or metal. The object created must be no larger than a 5-foot cube, and the object must be of a form and material that you have seen before. The duration depends on the object's material. If the object is composed of multiple materials, use the shortest duration. Using any material created by the spell as another spell's material component causes that spell to fail. When you cast this spell using a spell slot of 6th level or higher, the cube increases by 5 feet for each slot level above 5th.
Now, since you can make precious metals and gems, the most obvious use of the spell would be to con people. You create some gems, cash them in at the nearest magic shop, and then you have several minutes to skip town before you're arrested. But that's just the beginning of the shenanigans you can do with this spell. So today, I'm gonna teach you how to Looney Tune something to that using creation. Think back to the spell for a minute. You can create an object of no larger than a 5-foot cube, which means you can create a 5-foot cube. And you can create precious metals with this spell, so you could, for example, make a 5-foot cube of gold. I trust that you know that gold is very dense per cubic centimeter, so take a wild guess how much 5 cubic feet of gold weigh. Well, it's somewhere in the ballpark of 2,735 kilograms. That's 6,030 pounds. What do you think would happen if you dropped that on someone? While there are no official rules for falling objects damage, there are a few avenues you can take. You can transfer the damage the object would take from that fall to anything it falls onto, but that caps off at 20d6 and is just completely senseless to me. I mean, for characters falling it makes sense, right? Maybe that's when they reach terminal velocity. But if you use that rule for falling objects, a coin would do as much damage as a whale if it fell on you. I found this table somebody made which scales with object weight and fall distance, where an object that weighs more than 200 pounds will do 1d6 from 10 feet and an additional 1d6 for each additional 10 feet, but it still caps off at 20d6. No, bullshit, that's not how physics work. If this is how much kinetic energy the object hits you with, this is a constant, and this caps off at 200 feet, then the larger the mass, the more it hurts! So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep this as a base, but we're going to linearly scale it for every possible weight. Okay, so here's our formula. The falling object does initial damage when falling from a minimum height of 10 feet and increases by the same amount for every 10 feet on top of that, up to a maximum of 200 feet. For every 100 pounds above 200, we're gonna increase the damage by an extra 1d6. Don't worry about the formula, it's gonna make sense in a minute. So using this, let's see how much damage our gold block is gonna do. Well, it weighs around 2,735 kilos, which we round up to 6,030 pounds. Here's how to calculate how many additional d6s that is. First, subtract the previous limit of 200 from your object weight. Now divide that by 100 and discard any decimal points. So in our example, this calculation is gonna give us 58. So after we plug in this number, the formula from above is gonna become this. So that's 59d6 for each 10 feet of falling, up to a maximum of... What have I done? Okay, you know what? Even if we nerf this into the ground, it's still gonna be really strong. But we will have to use a slightly more complex formula. So this time, let's try separating it into base damage for the first 10 feet and height damage for everything beyond that. For every 100 pounds above 200, we're only gonna increase the base damage by 1d6. The weight is the same as before, and we're still gonna get 58 after all the calculations. Basically, this is the formula to calculate how much additional damage that is. So plugging in the numbers one more time, we get 59d6 base plus 19d6 from the extra height. Scaling that up to the new maximum, we get 78d6. That's an average of 273 damage. Whichever scaling you choose, now we're in business. First, take the immovable rod and winged boots that you conned out of the merchant earlier and fly some 200 feet above the ground. Lock the immovable rod in place and start casting creation so that you create a hanging golden weight around the rod. The rod will hold up to 8,000 pounds and the heaviest your block can be is 6,030, so it'll be more than enough. Stick around to release the rod once the target is in place. Now all you have to do is convince your enemy to stand on the big red X for a little while, but if they're being uncooperative, that's what suggestion is for. Once they're in place, simply release the rod and watch them get annihilated. And they say cartoons never teach you anything. Anyway, that's about it. If you like
Hey, you know what else is cool? Creation is an illusion spell.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you repeat, please?
Yeah, creation is an illusion spell.
What?
Yeah.
So then, illusion wizards can...
Yep.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, check this out. So, at 6th level, Illusion Wizards get Malleable Illusion, which lets you change the nature of the illusion you cast if it lasts longer than 1 minute, provided that you can see the illusion. With Creation, it means you can create something and change it later. This allows you to do several amazing things. It lets you bypass the 1 minute casting time, because Malleable Illusion only takes an action. This makes it usable in combat. For example, you can initially cast it to create a cardboard ball or something. Then, let's say your fighter doesn't have a magic weapon and you run into a bunch of werewolves. Now you can create a silver weapon for him with a snap of your fingers. Or you can use it to create instant cover for protection against range attacks. At level 10, you can cast Creation 3 times a day, creating something light that lasts 24 hours. Then, at any point during the next day, you can take flight, fly spell, hippogriff mount, whatever, drop your sheets of paper over an unsuspecting undead horde, and turn it into multiple napalm bombs or something on its way down. You can even cheese it to create multiple objects with a single cast. The spell is limited to creating a single object. However, multiple objects chained together with, say, a piece of thread could still be considered a single object. Unfortunately, it has to be made of a material and form you have previously seen. Fortunately, you're an illusionist. Just make a minor illusion of 1,000 spikes connected by a thread, which technically counts as a single object, ready to be unleashed over an unsuspecting orc village. I was even considering creating a black hole with a block of platinum. You shrink it down to make it ultra dense, since there's no lower limit on the size of an object, but the math didn't work out. It would be too small and unstable to do anything. But there's still tons of cool stuff that you can do that'll give your DM a migraine. Anyway, you were doing the video outro?
Well, fuck. I thought I could just talk about creative uses for a spell without any broken-ass interactions, but wizards just can't think anything through, can they? This brings up so many more things to consider. Like, how does the timer work when changing from a longer-lasting material to a shorter-lasting one and vice versa? And if you can only see one separate piece of the created item, does that count as seeing the entire illusion? How is this an illusion spell? I don't care if it's made from shadow stuff, it has mass, it has a tangible physical form. It's supposed to be conjuration. I don't care if it disappears after a while, so do all the conjure animal and similar spells. Oh fuck it, a discussion for another time. I'm already slacking way too much on making this video. Anyway, if you like this video, share it around. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.
Okay, he's gone. Come on, come on. Hey, if you hated the video, just hit that dislike button.
Write a comment telling him why he's wrong and how you hate his stupid voice and degenerate pony avatar.
And if you really hated this video to your very Apple core, then make sure to subscribe so that...
What was that noise?
Oh crap, bail, bail, bail!
Could have sworn I heard something. Must have been the wind.